Hi, Kat. Welcome to the Power Women Wellness Podcast. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing so great. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited to dive deep into your routines and habits. So before we get started, I would love to hear more about what you do and how you got into the industry that you're in.
Yeah, so I do a couple different things. I am a yoga teacher. I also have a wellness events company where I bring the community together and lead international retreats and local retreats. And I'm also a business coach for soul-led women and wellness entrepreneurs. So kind of have my hands in all the umbrella of really living a life of your wildest dreams and living a life of overflow, which is really my mission with my clients and community.
I love that you do the community event side of it, but I also know how much time and how much that takes. Do you feel like that's out of all of them, what do you feel like is your hardest?
The hardest. That's like you said, I think events, there's just all different. I mean, I've been teaching
Yeah.
yoga for nearly a decade. So that's like clockwork to me now. But at one point, that was the hardest. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think it kind of is also how long I've been doing different things. I would say they all have their own separate challenges. I would say
Yeah.
events definitely have a lot of moving pieces, but I am a manifesting generator, if you're familiar with human design, and I'm super multi-passionate. I have ADHD, so I'm like, it's kind of good for me.
It's a
So it's like
superpower.
so many things going on, and I'm like, yeah, this is so fun connecting. And so I definitely would say events can take a lot of behind the scenes work, and you have to be focused on a lot of things at once, and it can be a lot of energy. But at the same time, I absolutely love them. But I do limit them because of that.
Yeah.
Doing like having my bulk of my business being coaching,
Yeah.
yoga. So it's they all have their highs and lows.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of moving parts there. I feel that, but ADHD is truly a superpower. It can obviously deter you away from things and hyperfixate on certain things, but if you just know how to control it and how your flow is, which I'm excited to hear,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it can be a superpower. So tell us a little bit about your morning routine. I'm so curious on what you do to get your day started right. I know it's a really important part of a lot of power women's routine because without it, we're just kind of scrambled all over the place. So share with us things you eat, what do you do for mindset, any activity or fitness that you do. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I love this conversation, and I'm kind of well, because I am a, manifesting
Oh,
generator. I do have ADHD. I feel like I like a lot of variety. And so for the longest time, I did try to be like, okay, this is my morning routine. I'm going to do this exact thing every single morning, and this is going to set me up for success. And that for me just is not what
didn't
works
work.
best. So I feel like I go through phases of different morning routines. That being said,
Mm,
my constant is skincare. I always, wash my face morning and night. I always try to chug a glass of water as soon as I wake up.
nice.
So that would be like part of my morning routine. I always let the light in if there's any blinds closed. I love that morning sunlight.
Yeah.
I always snuggle my my French Bulldog Winston. So these things are core. Lately I've been doing of course I like to focus on my mindset first thing in the morning as well, whether it's through journaling. I almost pretty much daily do a 5-minute meditation. But before that, after I do my skincare, chug the water, snuggle my pup, I go out. I've been doing the hot girl walk, the infamous hot girl walk.
Nice.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I have made my own version of this where I do a 40-minute walk, and I'll either do a partial walking meditation for the first, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then I'll listen to a podcast episode. I also listen to podcasts on 1.8 speed. So
Oh,
zip, I
oh,
zip.
girl, I think I'm 2.5.
Oh
I'm
my
right there
God.
with you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I've always on the how quick can I get new knowledge in my mind?
Hmm.
So that's my current routine. Then I come back, I do at least 5 minutes meditation just to center. A lot of my mindfulness practice is really weaved throughout my day. Like I have a lot of moments of intentionality and awareness and breath work, and I have daily movement and all of that. But my morning routine right now consists of that. And then I'll have breakfast, of course, when I get back as well.
Oh, I love that. I know I go through seasons too. Like I'll go through seasons of listening to podcasts, and then seasons where like the morning walk consists of just like music and just enjoyment. Like my brain's like, okay, no more stuff coming in. So I'll just like ebb and flow through different things. So I feel you. But for the people who don't know Hot Girl Morning Walk, tell us.
So yeah, the Hot Girl Walk, this was a trend apparently going around on TikTok. I'm not even on TikTok right now. So I don't know. I don't remember where I saw it. I saw it somewhere, but the official Hot Girl Walk is apparently 90 minutes, which equals your 10K steps for most. And I did start with this in the beginning, but I just kind of modified it for myself. 90 minutes every day for me was a little like aggressive for me to commit to every single day. So it's supposed to be 90 minutes. You do the first 30 minute is just meditation. You can either do a guided meditation. I also really like the Joe Dispenza meditation. So I was doing that. And I still do those sometimes. I like those a lot. And then the next chunk, the next 30 minutes of the walk is focused on affirmations. So you're focusing just on like affirmations and what you're wanting to call in a manifestation for the next 30 minutes strictly. And then the last 30 minutes is more like new knowledge, like learning something. So that would be like your podcast time or something like listening to something new. That's
I love that.
I know.
But I was thinking like, yeah, 90 minutes. I've definitely done like 20-minute morning walks, but 90 minutes, yeah, that's a solid commitment. Even though it's awesome. And it's like literally one thing you can like start your day off in like big check, especially if you sit at a desk all day.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you move, like you do yoga, like you are very active even in like your jobs. So that's cool.
Yeah. And movement is definitely very, very important to me. I do like strength training, boot camp classes 3 times a week. I have a personal trainer. I do lots of yoga, of course. And then I do my daily walks as well. So in like, that is like a definite priority in my life.
Nice. And what about like the beverage of choice in the morning? What do you drink? A tea, coffee?
Oh, good question. So I switched from coffee. I used to be a big coffee person, and I actually have these like natural energy packets that I really enjoy. They have a little less, or they have 100 milligrams of caffeine. So I think that's less than like a latte. I think most like cold brews and stuff are like more in the 2 to 250. I don't really know, but in my mind it's less, so it feels better, and it's more like natural energy, as well as like B vitamins and stuff like that. So I'm hooked on those. I do those every morning.
Nice. What company is it?
The company is called Shackley. It's actually it's similar. I don't know if you've heard it. It's kind of like I don't know if the right term is MLM. I don't know if that's like a good term.
Yeah. I know.
It's one of those companies.
Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a matcha drinker, so like I love like tea instead, because I feel like coffee is just so much. I'm just so sensitive to it. So
I can't do it anymore. I did it the other day because like a friend brought me one, and I felt so anxious. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I drink coffee every day, and this just like jacked up my nervous system.
I know. Sometimes like I'm okay if it's every once in a while, especially if I'm just like in the mood for it. I'm good, but there's a company called Savorista, which I love. And they specialize in decaf coffee. So if you like the taste of coffee, but you just don't want the caffeine, they're really great. But they have a couple of blends that are half calf, which I feel like is like perfect, because it's like just enough like to really give you energy if you need it, but not so much to like make you so anxious, because I'm like that.
Yeah.
So tell us more about your nighttime routine. Is it complex, simple?
No, very simple. I like to keep things as simple as possible. For my nighttime routine, one key thing that I do is no phone after 8 p.m. I have the setting on my iPhone where it like shuts down and goes into silent mode, so I don't get texts, I don't get notifications. And that's, in order to try to minimize the blue light and all of those things. I sometimes will stretch like when I'm winding down. That's not a every night thing, but depending on like if I'm sore from my workout or
Yeah.
something like that, I'll add in some stretches. Again, always wash my face, usually take a shower before bed just to like relax and like feel refreshed before going to sleep. I then read for depends on how tired I am, but anywhere from like 20 minutes to, or even 10 minutes to like an hour, depending.
Yeah. Are you like a fiction or nonfiction at this point in the day?
Oh, so I am gonna make myself sound ridiculous right now, but I always confuse fiction and nonfiction. I know I'm ridiculous. I like
Fiction,
real stuff. What?
fiction, fake, and then nonfiction
Okay.
is like yeah,
I
real
am
stuff.
I am nonfiction always. I really am obsessed with
Really
personal development, business, books,
nice.
like all of those things, biographies, everything like that.
Nice, nice. Oh my gosh. I know. I love them too. But I think with just being, I finished my master's, I don't even know how, a year or 2 years ago. I'm starting my doctorate. So I'll next month. So I just feel like when I want to read, because I always read everything like obviously nonfiction. Oh
Yeah.
man, there's just something about just a book and a story that will like just take me away from like reality. So I found cause I always loved reading, but it wasn't until I don't know, I guess allowed myself and said, hey, reading doesn't always have to be like go, 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 business, business, business and health and self-development. I was like, oh, and then it made me realize like, oh, I miss just reading for fun.
I don't know why. I've always, for some reason, I can't hold my attention on, like
Really?
I would rather watch a show if I'm gonna do that in my,
Okay.
like it feels like, I don't know, I've just never been a fan of fiction. I just,
Yeah.
for some reason I'm just like one of those people, and I think part of that is like the Capricorn in me too, where I'm like, I have to be like accomplishing something when I'm reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also just love it. Like I read
Yeah.
things that I want to learn about and that feel really fulfilling to me.
Yeah, for sure. I will say I have hopped on a little bit of the auto biography bandwagon, mostly from like celebrities. Like I listened to Chrishell's from Selling Sunset. I listened to hers, and that was really awesome to hear where she started from and like where she's at. And I usually kind of I steer away from those books, but I'm like, wow, this is actually very encouraging. I like it.
Yes, I read Will Smith's actually I think it was like in the winter, but I actually loved that his book, his whole
Really?
incident and everything, but yeah, but it was really good. So I do like that. I love those too, like learning specific stories. Like his was all like how he came up in like hip hop and then transitioned into acting, and I don't know, it was really good. But
Wow, that's awesome.
sometimes.
What about like what you eat in a day? So I know you drink your little energy things in the
Yep.
morning. So what are some other drinks you drink in the day? Meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack?
Yeah, so I love my smoothies. I typically do at least one daily smoothie.
Me too.
Um, I also am a big fan of eggs. I love omelets and just like over easy eggs. A lot of times I'll have eggs in the morning, and a lot of times actually for dinner I'll have omelets too. It's like such a weird thing, but
Brenner is for real.
I know, I'm so obsessed. So those are like big. Again, I also have a super guilty pleasure for sandwiches. So I have found a way to make like my own version of like a kind of healthy sandwich where I do like Ezekiel muffins and like spinach and veggies and like turkey and like the vegan mayo.
Nice.
I like the taste better. But yeah, so random. I usually eat that for lunch if I'm being honest. And then snacks, I have these banana protein muffins that I make that I really like. So I'll do those, or nuts or berries. And then usually like either the omelet or protein and veggies for dinner.
Nice. Are you a cold sandwich person or like a panini, like a
I'm
hot
a
sandwich?
both. I'm a like
Okay, okay.
everyone makes fun of me because I am like like I think one day I'll have a sandwich shop in a yoga studio
That's
because
a great idea.
I love sandwiches. Like everyone, like my friends will come in and be like, "Can you give me a good sandwich recipe?" I'm like, I'm not like an artist. I just like to eat sandwiches.
I will say, my sandwiches at home are just not the same as like when I get out. Like the ones I get out, like out to eat are just fire. They're so good. And I swear I'm like, why can't I make something just as good as that?
Oh, I make bomb sandwiches, not to my own horn, but I love my sandwiches.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But I love sandwiches. It definitely is like such a comfort food.
Who doesn't, right?
I don't know, I guess there's definitely some people out there that don't.
I don't
But
know.
it's funny that you said that because my son this morning, because I pack both my kids lunch, and he's like, you know what, my favorite lunch is like a ham sandwich, like with some grass fed like cheese and lettuce and like turkey ham. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so funny. He like brought this up out of nowhere.
Oh my
So
God, that's hilarious.
special sandwich day. I'm like, okay, good to know.
My kind of person.
Outside of sandwiches, what are some of your favorite meals? Well, sandwiches, eggs, like omelets and stuff. Do you
Yeah.
have any other like specialty meals that maybe you grew up on and that you love, like chicken parm, or I don't know, something that just really hits you in the feels outside of eggs and sandwiches?
Honestly, I am not a cook. Like I will just
Okay.
be upfront about that. And so I am very simple, very basic. So I was actually crazy enough. I was vegetarian for like 8 years. So when I was vegetarian, and now I like actually eat a lot of meat. So it's kind of like a big jump for me, but I would do more like find recipes and do meals and cook more. Now I'm just very like salmon and asparagus, like in the
Nice.
oven. Or,
Yeah.
I have this like hamburger salad that I do with ground beef. And then I'll put it over spinach and do like ketchup, mustard, maybe avocado and tomato. Like just
Nice.
those are, it's just like very, very basic stuff.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being basic. I feel like that's why some people think like eating healthy has to be so complex, and it really doesn't. I mean, it can be if you want it to be, but it can absolutely be salmon and asparagus. I mean, it doesn't have to be crazy.
I totally agree.
So outside of yoga though, do you have any other fitness that you just love? Any other type of fitness?
I've gotten real into boot camp classes, and
Oh,
my boyfriend is actually, he owns gyms and he's a personal trainer. So he kind of
nice.
really got me into the regular boot camps, but now I love them. And I feel like there's such a good complement with the yoga practice too, because I mean, like anything, I say this with any exercise, like if you do spin all the time, if you do yoga all the time, if you do boot camps all the time, like you're going to be missing certain things in to have like a really well-rounded physical practice.
Agreed.
So in my opinion, like boot camps and yoga go so well together. You're building in more of that strength, and then you're able to also get more of the stretching and the flexibility and yoga and stabilization. So I love boot camps now. I do 3 a week, plus I also I work out with a personal trainer once a week as well. So
Nice.
I've like dabbled in other stuff like spin. I'm not a fan of cardio, so I
I'm
really
with you.
like to run or spin. I tried to get into spin, but it just wasn't really my thing because of the cardio part.
I I was on a podcast, I think last week, and I was like, if anyone ever sees me running, please like run after me because I'm
Oh, yeah.
probably running from something. So please someone save me.
Or something. Yeah. I'm not a fan of running.
That's funny. But I think you're on point of switching it up, because there are people that just do, I love strength. Like I do strength. That's my non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But just doing strength, I'm missing out on things like what yoga benefits of just being mindful and stretching and everything that yoga entails. And so it's really nice to have at least a couple of different things that are targeting different parts of the body.
Yeah.
So you still work with a personal trainer, even though your
I know,
boyfriend
it's
is a
funny.
personal
Yeah.
trainer?
Well, he is, we joke about it all the time. So it's at his gym that he owns.
Okay.
But we joke about it because he is so booked. I'm like, you're too busy for your girlfriend. Like, but no, the trainer that we worked out with, we love too. So it's like, it's all like a family there.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Do you ever feel like in the busy seasons of your life, like let's say there's an event, because I know again, those take up a lot of time, a lot of mental space. How do you pivot, or like, do you feel like you change? Do you feel like you don't need to change? Like, how do you just continue making sure that you are putting yourself first and filling up your cup, while in the midst of just something, maybe temporary, but like a really busy season?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think it's taken a long time to kind of get to this place where I do consider my movement and some of these practices as like who I am and really non-negotiables. Like no matter what's going on, I prioritize them. I'll make space for them. I treat them like extremely important meetings that I can't move. Of course, like, when crazy stuff comes up, or I'm trying to think of like, if I have to travel or something like that, I'm not super rigid, but I would say like you can pretty much always get in a walk. So even if that means like a 10-minute walk, then I still try to get into some movement. And I think a lot of the awareness for me helps of like, if I feel myself getting stressed or getting worked up, even like 5 minute of breath work. Like sometimes if I have a lot going on, I'm like starting to freak out, I'll sit in the car and just like take 5 minutes to myself to breathe and meditate. So it's like, doesn't need to be a lot of time. And I think it just, the understanding of how I know how it affects me. Like I mentioned, I have ADHD. I also have anxiety. I don't choose to medicate for either. And a lot of my wellness practices and mindset practices are driven from like that place as well. And from kind of like coping with those, or like living my life amazingly with those things, managing them really well with my lifestyle. So I know that when I don't, I feel way worse. So I guess I just really make it a priority.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like non-negotiables for sure. I know anxiety can be very debilitating. I too have, anxiety, definitely very high functioning for the most part. And I have no problem. Honestly, my husband would actually complain about it probably. But I have no problem, even if I had made plans and I am just like not feeling it. I have no problem canceling, saying no, and doing that. And my husband, what Enneagram are you? I'm so curious. Do you know?
Oh, Enneagram. This is one that I'm not very familiar with.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, I'm not positive. I've done it before, but I can't really remember. I feel like it was like a 1 or a 7 or both. I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm an 8. So I was just curious if you were, because anyways, I have no problem doing that. And my husband, that always bugs him. Because he's like, oh my gosh, we already made that commitment. But I'm like, I cannot fake it. I'm all about like being authentic. And I would hate to like go to something and like just bring the party down, because I'm like, I'm not feeling it, guys.
Yes, I am the same. I think that's a little like of an ADHD trait in my mind too, because it's like, with ADHD, you have like these waves of focus and energy and like socializing, at least for me, I feel like. And then kind of like, okay, I got all of that out and now I need to rest a little.
Yeah, for sure. I know you mentioned traveling. I know like walking, I'm with you. If you're traveling, like it's so easy to walk, because most of the time you are somewhat of it exploring or, doing something. But is there anything else that is like you bring it while you travel to keep you on track, or is just you try to find something while you travel? Like matcha is like such a part of my morning, so I will sometimes bring my matcha and make it in the hotel room. But
I always my little energy packets, they come in single packets, so I have like 10 of them in my purse at all times just for emergencies. I am literally obsessed. It's like kind of funny, but so definitely always bring those. I'll pretty much always bring a journal, a book, to keep some of those routines. And I love like even my Garmin watch. I love having a watch to focus on like steps and things like that. That keeps it motivating. I think when you're traveling, like you said, you naturally get in steps. I think the last time that I went to Miami in the geez, it was like in the spring. And I just remember I had like 25,000 steps on accident one day. And I'm like, holy crap, my legs hurt.
Even I'm from Florida, but I'm from Central Florida.
Okay.
So if we ever like visit, and obviously we have kids, so we're like, let's, maybe do a theme park. Dude, you want steps, go to a theme park.
Yeah. Oh my God, I believe it. Yeah. So those, and then I would say like, I usually do find a gym when I travel. I'll just find a gym. And like when I went to Miami, for example, I somehow had like a trial at Equinox that they were just like, yeah, come for free for a couple of days. I was like, cool. And so we just would like go work out, go to yoga classes. Like,
That's
so
awesome.
usually I'll try to find something like that. But again, I'm not like super strict of like, if I can't do this, I'm going to freak out,
Yeah, I know. But those are like the best trips of just being able to obviously like be in a new place and explore and do things that you normally don't do, but then at the same time also having like some type of like routine. I'm like still working out. Like I hate, like that's actually why I've done one cruise. I'm not doing another cruise again because they actually had a gym, but the food there I got off so bloated. Granted, I really wasn't in like my healthy living space when we did do it. I was just like very, very beginning of my journey, but I just remember thinking like, I need more control over like the different places we can eat at. Like I can't stand this like same old quality food.
I would be the same. That's why I've never done a cruise. I don't think I can handle it.
Don't recommend. I know some people love them, but I don't recommend
Each their own.
Put me on like land in a new city and let me explore like the local food and stuff. That's my jam.
Yeah, me too.
Do you have any other balancing tips that you have with like integrating like work life? I love that you really make it a priority. I'm the same way. I put it in my planner or my calendar like an appointment. I mean, it's just that serious. But do you have any other things that you find that has helped kind of keep things balanced?
Yeah, I would say definitely like on the same theme of prioritization, like knowing what your priorities are. Because I see a lot of times, especially as an entrepreneur and as a coach to entrepreneurs, I see a lot of like the comparison, right? Of like, oh my God, this other person is making $10 million a year. What the heck? Why am I not making $10 million a year? Whatever. And it's like, well, your number one priority this year has been your relationship, has been having a baby, has been, like your business is maybe your number 3 priority right now. And so first off, comparison never helps you with anything because we're all on our own unique path with our own unique goals and our own definition of success. So comparison is like, don't get me started, but knowing your priorities and these can like shift and change, but like my top 3 priorities at any time are my relationships, my health, and my business. So those things are the things that I'm always putting my attention towards. So if there's, things that fall outside of that, then it's kind of easy for me to be like, okay, I can say no to that social gathering right now because I need time to get my workout in, and I did that today. Actually, I was supposed to do a lunch date and I'm like, oh, sorry, this is my, this is the day that I work out at this time, but I can do it tomorrow,
Nice. I love that. I definitely think it's so true to see like what in your life in this season right now is just so important. Comparisonitis is, I think everyone knows it's like, you're not supposed to, but I think we just like fall into that even without realizing it. I know if I'm on social media way too dang much, I find myself little thoughts. It's nothing really big, but it's like little thoughts here or there trickling in little bit by little bit. And then all of a sudden the next day I wake up and I'm in a mood and I'm like, if I really sit there and journal about it, I'm like, whoa, I like am on social media too much. I'm feeling like I'm not worthy or I'm not doing good. And I'm like taking a step back, like I've done so much. So I am with you on that. I'm actually listening to the book Comparisonitis actually as we speak.
There's a book called Comparisonitis?
Yeah. It's by I think her first name's Melissa. She's Australian. She's the cutest thing ever. I'll definitely put it in the show notes, but that's so funny you bring it up because that's what I'm reading.
Oh, that's so funny.
Speaking of books and self-development, you love it. So what are some of your favorite self-development books?
Oh man. So one that really sticks out in my mind is Big Magic, just because that was the first book that I can remember that kind of sparked my journey of like really diving into a lot more like personal development. I loved Big Magic. Gabby Bernstein, like everything I read like in that same kind of time that sparked my journey. And it was like Big Magic, a ton of stuff by Gabby Bernstein. I love like Atomic Habits. I love anything by Brene Brown is super good. Trying to think of what else. All
I
of those.
think Big Magic, I swear, I think I started to read that one, and for some reason I could not get into it. And
Really?
maybe I need to give it another shot. And I don't know if I have it on Kindle or if I have it on Audible, but I just remember definitely, I know I'm not into a book when I'm like, oh, when's this chapter going to end?
Yeah.
I have to maybe give it another try. It was a while ago, so
It's been a long time since I read it. I should probably revisit it because I always talk about it. And maybe it was just like the timing, you know how that happens.
yes.
Timing of my life and what was talked about, and it just really hit for me. But that's one that I always think about. But yeah, it's been probably, I want to say like 8 years since I read it.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
It's been
That
so long. At least like 5 or 6. I don't know. It's been a long time.
that is a long time. Right now, that book for me is We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers.
Oh, I haven't heard of that, but
Obsessed.
I love like wealth consciousness type.
Oh my gosh. Obsessed. Yes. I knew that I always had a lot of unlearning to do. Not that my parents, like, it's just little things that they might have said or like, kind of aged and like made this wealth mentality, or that like money is scarce. And I just don't believe that. And anyways, such a good book. I could not stop reading it. And I even told myself when I got done, I'm like, this book was so amazing. I was like, I'm going to reread it every time, or re-listen to it every time I feel like I'm kind of getting in a weird slump with money. So it's just one of those books that you'll go back and reread. What about podcasts? Because I know you said you listen a lot.
Yes and no. So it was funny because I actually listened to podcasts very sporadically before I started my own podcast. And I think since I started my own podcast, the end of last year, I started like listening to more. But I'm trying to think. I listen to a lot of business podcasts. Sometimes I'll listen to Manifestation Babe. Geez, I can't even think of the podcasts. I would have to like go in and look at them. I can't even think of one that I listen to all the time. I do like Ali Reeves has a podcast called The 6-Figure Influencer, which is a business and energetic podcast that I like.
Nice. I know that's actually happened to me too. Like, I'm like, what do I listen to? I'm like, I listen to the same ones, but why can't I think of them?
I know. I actually do kind of switch around a lot. The Lacey Phillips Expanded podcast, I like that one too.
Cool. Awesome. I would love to kind of hear too, because I know you said you're really big and it's just a manifestation generator, you said. What does that look like for you?
I'm sorry, I missed that last piece. What was that?
Just bringing manifestation into your life, because it is like a huge part of what you do. So like, what does that look like in your day? Or maybe you don't use it daily, but I'm just so curious.
So one thing I do, which actually is funny that you brought this up, because I was about to say this in my evening routine, and then we started talking about something else. I missed the last part of this. So one thing that I try to do every night before I fall asleep is this dream visioning. So basically I imagine myself receiving the things that I want to call into my life at that moment, like big vision things, and like feel the energy. So for me, a lot of manifestation practices is about the energy, right? It's about like feeling and becoming a match for something. So it's about really like a big part of manifestation for me is also gratitude. So gratitude lists and spending time with gratitude, whether I'm actually writing it out or not, is really important for me. So between those two things of gratitude and the dream visioning, the visioning, especially before you sleep, is really powerful because it's a deeper imprint in the mind before you actually fall asleep. And when you go into deep sleep, which is in the early stages of your sleep cycle, it's like a lot deeper imprinted in your mind. So you become the match for what you're
Wow.
calling in quicker. So those are like my key manifestation practices, I would
Wow.
say.
Do you do it? So that's awesome. I never really thought about how important it is. It's so important to like end your day like that.
Yeah.
Is there any other ways that you bring it in throughout the day? Or is it mostly just like at night when it's that so, structured and more in your routine?
That's when I put really intentional focus on it. I would say throughout the day, a lot of it is like rerouting thoughts. Like if I see any mindset loops that are coming up or like disbelief or negativity, I also highly believe in coaches. I love coaches for this fact too, because I think that something that can really block your manifestations is becoming obsessed, or getting in these spirals of like, I don't know, like a lot of doubt, which is very
Yeah.
human for everyone. Like everyone experiences that. So I think having a coach, like I've had a business coach for the last 3 years straight, been in like high level mentorship and masterminds and things like that. I really like, that's not a manifestation practice, but for me,
Yeah.
that like is a really powerful reflection to help also break some of those times when I am getting stuck in some more of like the negative or the doubt or any of that. But I think also just having that awareness, like cultivating that awareness of where's your mind running off to when something doesn't go your way, or what are you making things mean about you or about your life? When if something happens in your business, what are you making it mean about you? How are you unattaching to the things that you're really desiring and not obsessing over them and like pushing them further away? So it's a lot of the little moments, I would say, that are just kind of weaved into the day of like
I love that.
thoughts and
I love
patterns.
that. That's awesome. Well, let's finish it up with a little lightning round. It's like either or, so you just choose one or the other. So let's get started. Pizza. I was gonna say people or animals.
People, which don't tell my dog. Oh my God. Can I take it back? No.
I know. Actually, I think so said animals before. So going on to pizza or burgers?
Oh, pizza all day.
All day. Oh,
I love pizza.
chill days or adventure days?
Chill or adventure?
Yeah, like chill or adventure.
I would say adventure.
Okay. Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
And then last one, reality shows or documentaries?
Documentaries. I don't watch any reality shows.
No, I know it is.
I'm like not a real girl these days. I feel like every friend I have is like obsessed with reality TV, and I've just never gotten into it.
That's hilarious. I think it just depends. I think like Selling Sunset is technically reality, and I will say that's good and it's very
I
entertaining
have
too.
heard it's really good. I know. I haven't watched that yet, but
Yeah, so I feel like they are getting better because I feel like reality TV is usually like I don't know, like super trashy stuff that's just like,
yeah.
what am I doing with my life watching this? But it can be so entertaining.
Oh my
But I feel
God.
like Selling Sunset honestly also is such a push for me because they're showing these amazing houses and it's just so incredible, and
Yeah.
someone's buying it and it's just like, dude, that could be me.
Yes. Yeah. It's like the manifestation, like actually
Yeah.
putting the pictures in front of you of what you want to create.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, I'm walking through this $20 million house. I love that. So tell us, where can we find you? How can we support you?
You can find me most often at Instagram at Kat Cynewski. My website's katcynewski.com. I have a freebie there, which is my abundance activation. If you are an entrepreneur or if you are interested in becoming an entrepreneur, it's a really great place to start. I also have my podcast, the Wealthy and Well Woman podcast, where we talk all things wellness and growing a soul-led business. I think those are most of the spots. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, you gave me the link for the freebie. So I'm definitely going to put that training in the show notes so we can share that with everyone. Thank you so much for coming on and hanging out today. It's so much fun getting to know you.
Yes. Thanks for having me.